Pick Six Podcast with your hosts, Larry Kaczynski and Danny Waiter. Get ready for some action. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pick Six Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Larry Kaczynski.
And Danny Waiter.
And Danny is actually going to be taking the reins on this one for most of the episode because I was busy all weekend, so I really didn't get a chance to watch any football, which sucks, but hey, what can you do? It's life. I'm going through some changes right now, and unfortunately, taking care of my life is more important than anything else at the moment. So, unfortunately, the only thing I could watch is the Monday night game that just got over with not too long ago, where the 49ers just destroyed the Cleveland Browns 31-3, and the 49ers are 4-0 for the first time since 1990. 1990, folks. So, and this is another topic we'll get into after we do our little recap. And I need to mention Garoppolo and said company because I think these guys are the real deal, but I'm going to save that for later on because that's going to be a whole new topic because we are going to be entering week 6 already. It's going to start the playoff pictures are going to start coming to form here shortly. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So we're just going to do a quick rundown of this week's action. As I said, 31-3. I was on the Browns side. I really was. When we did our first show, like I said, we didn't know anything, what was going on. They looked great on paper, and I picked them to take the AFC North. But, yeah, not after this, man. I just don't know where to go with the Cleveland Browns because it's 1 minute they'll show up, and then 1 minute they're, like, totally somewhere else. They're massively inconsistent, and I just don't know what's going on in Cleveland right now. And it sucks because, as I've mentioned before, I spent 5.5, 6 years in Ohio. I grew up a Browns fan, and I don't know what's going on with them. So, but yep, 31-3, Niners over the Browns. The Indianapolis Colts taking down the Chiefs, 19-13, giving the Chiefs their first loss of the season, and it's the Chiefs' fewest points in their last 26 games. Unbelievable. I cannot believe this shit. I admit it. I am wrong about the Indianapolis Colts. How Danny and I both said that without Andrew Luck, they would not be anything. I'm going on record right now, and I'm taking this back. I mean, Jacoby Brissett has impressed the hell out of me so far this season, and I'm going to tell you, I think they're definitely going to be a wild card, in my opinion. I'm totally wrong, and to the Indianapolis Colts fans out there, I apologize. I think these guys are the real deal too, but again, it'll be a topic for another time. Is there anything you want to add on that game?
I'm sorry, I was eating a couple of pieces of fruit. We were both horribly wrong. Now it's still early, 3-2. That's only one more win than their loss total, but the fact that they took the game plan that Detroit had for the Chiefs, and then because Patrick Mahomes and the Colts both said after the game it was because of Detroit's game plan, and the fact that the Colts were able to take that and just go even further with it, I knew their defense was going to be good, but it's Jacoby Brissett that has been carrying the team, and Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack right now is 4th in the league in rushing right now, and I think he's had 2 or 3 straight games of 100 or more yards rushing. And, like the Chiefs, yeah, they don't have a good run defense, but I can't remember the 2 other teams that they faced, but, every defense is different. But the fact that he has 3 straight weeks of 100 yards or more, that says a lot about him. And think about this. The people that are in front of him are Christian McCaffrey. He's 1st in the league. Dalvin Cook and Matt Breida right now. Okay, that's some good company to be a part of right now.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't believe how powerful Burrito was today. He ran over that. I just can't believe how much they ran the ball. I was totally blown away on just how powerful this guy is. And Nick Bosa, finally getting his revenge on Baker Mayfield. It was one of the best sacks that I've seen all year. So I give a huge congratulations to them. Absolutely. Next up, we have the Packers over the Cowboys, 34-24. What in the hell is going on here? Aaron Jones with 4 rushing touchdowns. It's the most by by Green Bay since 1999. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Again, the Packers are going to be tough. But again, like I said, we'll get into the next segment when we're done with these. Broncos over the Chargers, 20-13. Which, what the hell is going on here? Oh my God! Vic Fangio wins first game as NFL head coach. This is just I don't know. I'm just trying to breeze through these so we can keep going. I don't know. I don't get it. Panthers over the Jaguars, 34-27. Christian McCaffrey, 237 scrimmage yards in that game. Tied single-game team record. He's a fucking beast. And a massive, massive cheers to the Arizona Cardinals for finally winning a game. But again, you still played nobody. 26-23 over the now 0-5 Bengals. Cliff Kingsbury wins his first game as NFL head coach. Also, like I said, next topic. The Houston Texans. Did they come to play or what? 53-32 over the Falcons. Oh my God. Fuller, a 53.7 fantasy points. It's most by a wide receiver since Terrell Owens in 2000. I would have loved to seen this game and see where the oh man, that was just unreal. That's a game that I wish I could have watched. The Saints over the Bucks, 31-24. Teddy Bridgewater is now the second Saints quarterback since the merger with 300 plus yards and 4 touchdowns. Here's another thing we were wrong about. It's almost making us look like we don't know football here. We're only going by, what people have done in the past. I'm glad the Saints are winning. Drew Brees is rehabbing nicely. He's back on the field. He's throwing it around a little bit. So he should be ready in a couple weeks, I'm hoping. Get him back in there. We're good. But they're sitting at 4-1 right now, so we're still good. Do you have anything to say about that one, or you just want me to move on?
I'll just say real quick. As I mean, I wasn't wrong about Teddy, but I definitely didn't believe he had 4 touchdown passes in him in a game.
Yep. Holy cow. I'm surprised the Saints are still doing it. I really am. So I'm giving my hats off to Teddy Bridgewater, even though this is a combined effort. It's not just, because Teddy Bridgewater's playing like a horse, which he is, but it's just everything surrounding him that's making him still win, which I'm eternally grateful for because I was so destroyed when Breeze got hurt. I'm like, oh, no, it's done. But anyway, no, it's not. They are still winning, and I'm loving every minute of it. The Vikings over the Giants, 28-10. Dalvin Cook, 218 scrimmage yards. Most by Minnesota since 2012. That's very interesting, too. Oh, yeah. And this was another one I was worried about, too, because the Raiders over the Bears, 24-21. The Raiders were up 21-0. And they just fell apart in that second half. That's when I had to leave to go do the other podcast, so I missed that whole comeback. I was getting texts from Paige. Oh, by the way, what's up, Paige? Miss your brother. He's like, I think you're right. I think the Raiders are going to lose this game. The Bears. He's like, oh, never mind. So, yeah, what up, Paige? Jacobs is now the first running back with 140-plus scrimmage yards, 2 touchdowns versus Chicago since 2013. So way to go, Oakland, for holding that one off. The Eagles over the Jets, 31-6. The Eagles defense now have 10 sacks in a game, which is most since week 3 of 2007. Like I said, these teams that we were for sure were going to be sucking hind tit are right there. They're up there. They're still hanging there. But as we mentioned when we first started doing the show, that it was going to be an insane, crazy season. And it has not proved us wrong yet. This has just been insane this year. The Ravens over the Steelers 26-23. Not really important there. It's just about Tucker scoring the game-winning field goal, 46 yards. The Buffalo Bills over the Titans, 14-7. Buffalo is 3-0 on the road to begin the season for the first time since 1993. I know, that's what I'm saying. This is going back to my childhood now. And you were just, in your mom's womb. You weren't even in the womb. I know, right? You were just a nut stain. I know, right? And of course, the damn Patriots over the Redskins, 33-7. Go fuck yourself. I'm not Jay Gruden. Yep. Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden was fired earlier today for being 0-5. So, I don't know, man. Hopefully, whoever they get to replace, which I'm assuming will probably be the assistant as an interim head coach until they find something next season, maybe. I don't know. But I still think that the Redskins, you can't get any worse. So I think there'll be an improvement, and that'll reflect on my picks for next week. But we'll get into that too. Oh, man. And then Thursday night, the Seahawks over the Rams by 1 point. I watched a little bit of that game, 30-29. The Seahawks are now 9-1 in Thursday primetime games since 2010. And breaking news here, I finally won a Thursday game. I am now 1-4 on Thursday night. But yeah, and as far as our picks go, I took week 5 this week by a landslide, 11-4 to Danny's 8-7. I don't know what your. Hopefully, you'll be able to rebound next week.
Listen, we're tied.
We're tied now. Yep, we're up. We're both tied at 2-2-1.
I'm ahead in Thursday night games still.
Yeah, I know that, but still. Overall, we're both 2-2-1. Not too shabby. I like being even because it shows that we're both on the same wavelength here, which is really cool about that. So yeah, there's your week 5. And really nothing really jumped out at me from what I did see. Nobody really got hurt, which is good. So you can't go wrong there. So anytime when you have players that I don't remember who it was, but as we mentioned on the last episode, you guys need to stop jumping up. You need to stop this hurdle. Christian McCaffrey. It was Christian McCaffrey. That's who it was. You guys stop leaping. Y'all gonna get hurt.
If you leave your feet, I really don't have nothing to say. You leave your feet, there's destined to be things to happen because, if you're up in the air, what's going to happen? You're going to come down, right? But you land harder than you do jumping up in the air. Like, you're not going to jump in the air and, my legs hurt. No, you're going to fall and something's going to hurt. So you can possibly twist your ankle. You can possibly get flipped like TJ did, TJ Hawkinson. And if a defender has his head towards the ground, yeah, jump over him. Get those few extra yards, don't take that, head to shoulder hit. But if he's standing straight up, don't try to jump over him. Lay your shoulder into him, okay? Because he's expecting you to jump. So lower your shoulder and flip him instead of flipping yourself.
Yep, exactly. That, like I said, this is something that they definitely need to look into because it's the I don't want to say more important players because that just sounds like really assholeish, but I'm trying not to say it. It's these premier elite players that are doing this shit, and you're gonna end up getting hurt, and it's gonna sideline you. You guys need to knock it off. You guys need to knock it off. But I just looked on my NFL mobile app. Get this: the New England Patriots released Benjamin Watson. Ooh, that's yeah. I can't believe that. Why? I can't believe they actually released Benjamin Watson. And the Bills have now sent Zay Jones to the Raiders for a 2021 pick. Unbelievable. Wow. I I just don't know what the heck's going on here. See, now all these players who are like borderline where they just need to be like coached up, you know, they could be phenomenal players. Send these people over to Miami. Get this Miami team going, you know? I mean, Benjamin Watson would be a perfect fit. Again, CJ Anderson, he still hasn't got picked up yet. Send him down to Miami. You guys need this help like right now so you can start working on next season. Get this going. And now Zay Jones? Oh, absolutely. I mean, just Zay Jones and Benjamin Watson, there's two great additions to your offense right there. So you guys need to start doing something here. All right, so that's our small little recap of the week. Is there anything that stood out to you, sir, for this week? No, nothing. Wow, it's weird. Usually we have some crazy shit to talk about, but it was from what I saw a pretty quiet week. Nothing really major happened for once. So what we're gonna do now is, if I can find my pen, which I don't know where. Oh, there's my pen. We're gonna start with We're gonna go to our week 6 picks, and I quickly had to write these down, so I might change mine on the fly because I really haven't. Like I said, I've been super busy, so I literally wrote these down before I came over. So starting off on Thursday night, we have the Giants and the Patriots. I want the Giants to play spoiler. I really do. Daniel Jones is really impressing me. I want to see the Giants upset the Patriots, giving the Patriots their first loss of the season, but I can't do it. I got the Patriots winning this one. They're at home, and yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
I'm picking the Patriots as well because Daniel Jones is exciting, but he's also a clone of Eli Manning. So I'm going to not put big expectations on him. I'm just going to assume that he's going to have a good year, but he's not going to have a great year because he's still working with a team. He doesn't have Saquon Barkley, so without him, I don't think they can beat the Patriots. But, once Saquon Barkley comes back, I think they still can turn the tables, but right now, I don't see them facing a really good team and coming out with a win.
Nope, absolutely not. Oh, and by the way, Paige gave me a message to give to you to stop going against his fucking Patriots. That's what he said.
All right, well, write me down for the Giants then.
Oh, Danny throwing Paige some shade. He's changing his pick, ladies and gentlemen. There's no light. Oh, interesting. He's changing it. I see a feud here. I'll be sure to tell him that when I talk to him. Next up, we have the Panthers at the Buccaneers. I still can't. I don't know what's going on with Carolina. I just can't do it. I'm gonna have to. I'm sticking with the Bucs. I can't go against. I can't go. No.
With how the Panthers played last week, I'm picking the Panthers because this is what I'm talking about. Jameis Winston did not show up to the game this week. Okay, so how can I trust somebody that plays like a superstar and then plays like a dud the next week? Like I just this is why I said Jameis Winston can probably win any game, but it just depends on which one shows up. So I do have the Panthers for this game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, it's this one's actually going to be a pretty interesting game. You have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, it's one of those situations where the Vikings are either going to be on the cusp of being good or on the cusp of being horrible. This was a very tough decision for me. I was actually going to go with the Minnesota Vikings on this, but I'm not there yet. It's like, again, another team that's completely inconsistent. So I'm going to have to stick with my original, and I'm going to have to go Philadelphia over Minnesota.
I'm going to have to go with the Eagles as well because, I mean, just Philly is definitely a team that can go deep into the playoffs because, they have a lot of depth. I mean, I always compare to Madden, and I'm always going to be consistent, but in Madden, they have them with their offense at like a 93 and their defense at an 89 with like a 86 overall. So, they have depth. Madden sees it. The NFL sees it. That's why they still give, and they gave the Lions a high rank in everyone's, power rankings because the Eagles are such a good team, and yet the Lions were able to beat them at home too. Like they beat them in Philly. Like that's really hard to do, and they pulled out a win. And yeah, I have the Eagles winning that.
Like I said, they're on the border. I don't know what is going on with some of these teams. I don't know. Next up, we have the Battle of the Winless. Another one. The Washington Redskins at the Miami Dolphins. I understand Jay Gruden got fired for being 0-5. I don't see the Dolphins winning anything at all this season. So I'm going with the Redskins just because of the fact that I really don't care about this game. I mean, I would like to see either one of them win. I mean, I'm more over with the Dolphins, but the Dolphins, like as we mentioned too many times before, they don't have anybody. And I don't know why they're not signing some of these great free agents or even the ones that are being traded. I mean, work something out because I hate seeing Miami the way they are. But whoever, I don't know. I think the Redskins still have a better shot. Like I said, they need to give Haskins the reins and coach him up. Because look at what he did with Ohio State. One of the best quarterbacks ever come out of Ohio State. I mean, in my opinion. But he needs to be coached. And Jay Gruden obviously wasn't the choice anyway. So, but I'm still sticking by the Redskins over the Dolphins.
I'm only picking the Redskins because they have three very capable quarterbacks that can come and play. Now their 0-5 record, it is what it is. I mean, they really have not, like, they have good quarterbacks at the helm, but they're just not a good team. Okay, and if you're not a good team, quarterbacks aren't good. So they might be good athletes, but they're not good players, though. And the reason why I'm giving it to the Redskins is not just the quarterback situation, but also because the Dolphins just don't really have a defense. They have one of the best corners, and that's it. And I want to pick the Dolphins because I feel this is a game they can win because of how bad the Redskins have been doing. But I can't do it. I'm sorry, Dolphin fans, but hot chocolate, man. Just come over for some hot chocolate. I'll give you a hug. We'll watch Elf together. Okay, it's almost Christmas time. We'll watch Nightmare Before. Whatever you want to watch. Okay, because I'm sorry.
I'm in total agreement because we know their pain. we know they're paying all too well. So, I mean, we can even sit out. I mean, it's still warm outside. We can go outside, make a campfire, make some s'mores, sing some kumbaya, whatever you want. And while Danny was talking about the Redskins, I changed my next pick, and I can't believe I just did this. But the way the Texans have been playing lately, and oh, dude, and with the way the Chiefs have, I mean, it's not really not the Chiefs' fault, but I can't believe I'm about to say this. I'm going Texans over Chiefs next week. I just now changed it, as you can see. It's right here. I had the Chiefs. But there's just something that's making me change my mind about the Texans. The points they've been putting on the board, the defense that's been going on. I don't know. I think the Chiefs might lose back-to-back games here, even though that the Chiefs are at home. I'm going with the I'm going with the Texans over the Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs. I want to pick the Texans because I love DeAndre Hopkins. I love Will Fuller. I love Deshaun Watson. I love J.J. Watt. I love the Texans, but they're not consistent this season. The teams that they're supposed to beat, they haven't beat, and the teams they're not supposed to, it's literally flipped for them. And once again, it's another team I can't trust. So I'm picking the Chiefs because at least the Chiefs have been consistent. Now, everyone's saying there's a little game plan that they've made up on defense now for the Chiefs, but I mean, they basically have the most explosive offense in the league. I mean, it's even if you come up with the game plan, Andy Reid is a phenomenal coach. He has been around for a long time. The Super Bowl has escaped his grasp, but the things he comes up with, though, he finds a way to get things done, and I give the Chiefs the edge.
Yeah, like I said, this was a very hard decision. I don't know. There's just something about the Texans. I don't know what it is yet, but this one. I mean, if I lose this one, I'm not going to be upset because this is one of those games that can go either way. My next game is my personal game to watch. It's the Saints and the Jags. Ooh. Oh my God, this is the battle of the backups. Bridgewater versus Minshew. Oh, I'm still sticking by my Saints. I'm gonna take the Saints. I wanted to take the Jags. This was, like I said, this is another one I wanted to change, but I don't know. I mean, the Saints are on a tear. They prove that they can do it without Breeze, but that's the thing. I got to stick by the Saints because I'm already there. I wanted to see the Jags win this one. Because believe it or not, I don't know if you were listening to it, but I was watching a little bit of the reviews on ESPN. They're talking Gardner Minshew as MVP candidate right now already. 3 games in, and they're already talking MVP. So I mean, he's a bad guy, dude. Bad guy. So this was a tough call, but this is my game to watch. The battle of the backups. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen, but I'm still sticking by my Saints. As much as I want to go with the Jags, I got to stick by my team.
I got the Jags. I mean, it is a very important game, and honestly, I don't just pick games just to be like, oh, boy, screw you, Larry. But, we also can't just always pick the same games. And when it comes to games like these, we got to pick opposites. I mean, even if he chose the Jaguars, I would probably pick the Saints just because this is a game where it shows what a team is really made of. You have a team that's 4-1 with a backup, and then you have a team that's 3-2 with a backup. Okay, now are they playing Jalen Ramsey or they don't have Jalen Ramsey at quarterback? That because he's probably one of the best, if not the best corner in the game. And if he's playing, then it's lights out. If he's not, then it's AJ Bouye, and I don't know whoever's filling in for Jalen Ramsey, but AJ Bouye is great, But with Jalen Ramsey, it's lights out. And even if he's not playing, I still have the Jaguars winning because that front seven is really nice, especially with Calais Campbell. He's got that long reach. So if you're a quarterback, watch out.
Nice segue. This is a throwaway for me. We've got the Seahawks at Cleveland. Cleveland's just not. I'm still scratching my head on Cleveland on what the hell they're doing wrong. I just don't know. For me, by their performance tonight, it's going to be another wash. Seahawks over Browns.
Seahawks. Because Hawks.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about it. This is another wash. We have the 0-5 Bengals at the Ravens. Again, it's the Ravens all the way.
The second team to go 0-16 this season is the Bengals. I choose the Ravens to win.
See, I'm still I still have a feeling that we're going to have more than one team at 0-16 at the end of the year, I think. I still have that feeling. Let's see. Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the LA Rams. I am going with my Niners. These guys are the real deal. But again, this will be in another topic after we get done with our Week 6 picks. I'm loving the Niners and what they're doing. This is amazing. I'm glad to see that spark back in San Francisco. I'm totally digging it. So, yeah, 49ers over Rams.
I also have the 49ers because I called it from the beginning. Their front seven is amazing. Their running game is phenomenal. I mean, they have Matt Breida. They have Tevin Coleman. They have Jimmy Garoppolo. They have, I believe it's Chris Goodwin, I believe. Deebo Samuel. They have George Kittle. They have an amazing offensive line. Like they have a complete team, and they showcased it tonight with the Cleveland Browns. Like I can see them going to the Super Bowl.
It's a definite possibility, dude. Definitely a possibility. So yeah, I'm glad San Francisco is back. Absolutely. Next up, we have the Falcons and Cardinals. I went with the Falcons. Fuck it.
I tried cheering for the Falcons, but I'm going to give it to the Cardinals because the Falcons are probably one of the biggest disappointments for me this year. Like on Sunday, they barely used Julio Jones. They barely used Calvin Ridley. They almost barely didn't use Mohamed Sanu. Devontae Freeman is not himself. Ito Smith isn't doing anything as well. Matt Ryan is barely doing anything. And the defense is just abysmal. And I'm surprised they've even won any games this year. That's why I have the Cardinals winning because I don't even know what to say. It's just the Falcons are just such a disappointment. I don't know what else to say. It's so hard to come up with words because I'm just bashing them and I'm trying so hard to say, well, but there is no well, there was only oh no, because their season is over.
Yep, it's a very big disappointment, man. If I were to go any higher on the I was gonna bust a nut. Like literally bust one of my nuts. But yeah, like I said, we discussed this in our first episode. The Atlanta Falcons have the same damn team that went to the Super Bowl. You went to the NFC Championship game. You got the same team. What the hell's different? I'm so upset by this because I loved watching Atlanta, especially when they played the Saints. That was one key matchup that I loved watching. I would cancel all my plans just to watch the Saints Falcons games. And now it's I don't know. Because as far as I'm concerned, they need to fire that whole team. Because I'm just so frustrated with it because I love the Falcons so much. But anyway, next up we have the Cowboys and the Jets. I don't think Sam Darnold's playing this one yet. I think he's still going to be out. I think it's next week he comes back maybe. I'm not too sure on that one. But I'm definitely going Cowboys.
Only picking the Cowboys because they have beat the bad teams, and they've lost 2 games so far, and the 2 games they've lost have been against decent teams. Like the Packers are a decent team. They lost against somebody else, and the Saints. The Saints are decent without Drew Brees. Yes, they're 4-1, but that's because 2 of the games, I believe, were with Drew Brees. Or was it 3 games with Drew Brees? Yeah, so, they're pretty decent. And, of course, the Cowboys are going to look good on paper against teams that, are bad. Like, they faced the Dolphins. Who was the 2 other teams that they faced? Okay, so, after looking real quick, the Cowboys beat the Giants the first week. They beat the Redskins, but barely. And then they demolished the Dolphins. And then they faced a decent Saints team and lost. And faced a very decent Packers team and lost. So right there, that tells you that all these chants of America's team are going to go downhill. Because, yes, they're probably going to beat the Jets this week. But, I mean, they have the Eagles, the Vikings, the Lions, the Patriots, the Bills, the Bears, the Rams, the Eagles. If anyone has a hard schedule, it's probably the Cowboys because, I mean, they're just mediocre at best, in my opinion. I mean, they have so much talent, and yet they couldn't even beat the Saints or the Packers, and so I give the Cowboys this win this week, but that's probably about it for the rest of the season.
Interesting. The next one is another meh game. We have the Titans and Broncos. I'm taking the Titans because I don't like the Broncos.
Man, the Broncos, they beat the Chargers. That's surprising. The Chargers were 12-4 last year. But then again, Melvin Gordon did hold out for the beginning of the year, so I'm going to give it to the Titans because the Broncos they still haven't played Drew Lock. They won because the Chargers just aren't the Chargers right now, and yeah, the Broncos have their defense going for them, and even that hasn't been going too well.
I still can't wrap my head around why they're not playing Drew Lock. I don't understand it. Flacco's not your guy. Drew Lock is. Because I watched him in the preseason because we played him, right? I think we played him. I don't know. It was a preseason game, and they started Drew Lock, and Drew Lock, oh my God, I was so impressed with this kid. I'm like, you need to put him in there. Flacco, sit the hell down and let Drew Lock take over. So I think you'll see a massive upswing in your win column. Oh. And well, this is another one that can go either way. Next up, we have the Steelers and the Chargers. And as Danny just mentioned, the Chargers aren't the Chargers this year again for some reason. I don't know why, but neither is the Steelers. But the Steelers. They're done. So I'm going with the Chargers on that one.
I'm going with the Steelers because, the first week they faced the Colts and they won. Then they faced us and they lost. That's another team I'm disappointed with. I mean, I'm glad I'm going to be a little bit biased. I'm glad the Lions won. I mean, we are Lions fans. As you can see from, our picture. We are somewhat Lions fans, and I'm just very disappointed with them. Philip Rivers, he's been in the league for so long. He's very talented, and yet he's not clutch anymore. Even when he had LaDainian Tomlinson, he still couldn't get to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to pick against them because the Steelers won one game. Yes, it was against the Bengals, but sometimes even getting a mediocre win can cause a decent snowball effect, and then that decent snowball effect turns into a pretty good effect, and then a good game, and then a pretty great team, and then playoffs, and then Super Bowl, and then everything out. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I have the Steelers winning. Yeah.
Damn, dude. I think you just busted a nut. You redline, dude. Wow. And finally, my upset game. The Lions at Packers. Like I said, I was impressed with the way they handled the Chiefs, even though we did win that game. I don't care what anybody says. You can fight me on that one. The officiating was absolutely horrible. Just deplorable in that game. We beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs should have 2 losses on their damn record right now, in my opinion. But anyway, that was 2 weeks ago. I like the way they played the Chiefs. I see an upswing here. And I've also mentioned this, I think it was on the last show, that even the commentators are like, oh, now the hard part's done for the Lions. It'll be a lot easier. Bullshit. Our next 5 games, 3 out of 5 are against our division rivals. So, no, it's not going to be easier. It's going to be harder. Our schedule is the second hardest in the NFL. The whole NFL. We have the second hardest schedule behind the Dallas Cowboys. So, no, I totally disagree. But in my upset, I'm going with the Lions over the Packers. I'm really digging with what they're doing. They're on a massive upswing. They had the bye week. They're going to be rested. I know they worked hard this week to work on things. I'm slowly regaining my hopes with the Lions. So I think this is it. Because as of right now, as it stands, we're in second. So we'll see what happens here. I'm putting my faith back in the Lions a little bit. But if they lose this game, I'm going right back to where I was. I'm giving them credit. I love the way like I said, that Lions-Chiefs game last week was amazing. I enjoyed the shit out of that Lions game. One of the best Lions games I've ever seen, next to the time Danny and I actually went to Ford Field to watch the Lions destroy the Patriots 28-10 in week 3 of last year. We were there, and it was amazing. But this game blew it out of the water because of, in my opinion, the Kansas City Chiefs are the cream of the crop, not the fucking Patriots. There I go again with my swearing. I'm trying so hard. But I'm going Lions over Packers.
2 things first before I say who I think is going to win Lions. And game to watch is the Redskins and Dolphins. I meant to say that because these are 2 0-4 teams right now. But the thing is that we don't really know what the Dolphins are right now. They're a losing team, but we don't know what type of losing team are they. Are they a losing team that could potentially come out with a win? Or are they a losing team that is purposely tanking really hard to get all kinds of early, not just first-round picks, but early first-round picks? And then the Redskins, this is also going to be a game against a very bad team to figure out if Colt McCoy can actually lead the Redskins to a win, if Case Keenum can lead the Redskins to a win, or if Dwayne Haskins can lead the Redskins to a win. My upset is the Steelers because, they are 1-4, but the Chargers also don't look good and they don't look bad this year. So I see them as a mediocre team right now. I don't think Melvin Gordon will take off until maybe week 10. because he missed like 4 weeks. And he didn't play the following week. He played, this Sunday, and he wasn't that good. But I have the Lions over the Packers because I think the Packers are a decent team. And the only reason, and I was talking with a buddy at work as well, and him and I were talking. He made a very good point. Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns, but they were all short touchdowns. They weren't, oh, he ran for 20 yards. Oh, he ran for 30 yards. Oh, he ran for 10. Oh, he ran for 5. No, he ran for like 2 or 3 yards for each touchdown. So he made it happen in the red zone, but it wasn't like he made plays. He just got the touchdown on 2-3 yards. And that's what you're supposed to do, but throughout the whole game, he was not really doing anything until then. So, I mean, I don't see the Packers being a good team. Everyone wants to ride Aaron Rodgers to the Old Town Road and back, but they're not a good team. And I believe, not just because I'm being biased, but because I'm looking at the team as a whole and how the defensive line has been getting better, the secondary is elite, and the offense has been taken off like no other. I see them as a more complete team, so I have the Lions winning that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm just inching it towards. I definitely, after seeing the Chiefs game, I definitely see the potential in our Lions. I really do, and I still call them our because, of course, we're from Michigan. We live in Michigan. What that mean? And I've been watching them for 30 years. So I mean, I see this Lions team is like a Lions team like none other I've seen in my entire life, where they are a dual threat on the ground, in the air, on defense. They're a complete team right now, and even all the experts on ESPN that I watched when I was watching the Monday night game today, even they were talking about the Detroit Lions in the NFC North. Even they're saying, watch out for the Lions. This is a sleeper team, and I am in 100% agreement that they're a sleeper team. They need to stay healthy. They need to stay consistent. And with the next 5 games being 3 out of 5 in the NFC North games, this is where it's going to either make us or break us in the playoffs for the run to the playoffs, I should say. So, because we're the only team in the NFC North that hasn't played anybody yet. So if we can sweep the NFC North, I would be perfectly happy with that. 6-0 against our rivals.
Automatically makes this 8-1-1.
That's what I'm saying. 8-1-1, I would be happy with that. But, it's not going to happen. But you can hope. I mean, at least split.
We did it
At least split. I'd be happy with a split. 1-1. But
did it the past 2 years. I mean, except for last year, I think we lost to the Vikings twice. But, I mean, the past 2 years, we've been kind of rocking the NFC North. Now, have we won first place? No. But we've been inching our way there, and I think this year we have the NFC North.
Strong words. I can't say that. Not yet. If they're damn, dude, you're putting me on the spot. If they can be 7-3 going into week 11, I would say absolutely. But the Packers would have to take a major downfall. I can't say that yet. So, but anyway, that is our week 6 picks, and we have 8. We picked 8 different ones. So this will be interesting to see what happens here. So what kind of stat man do you have for us, Mr. Statman?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the special tools that some of these websites have. But let me go. All right. So the NFL app, by the way, we're not sponsored by the NFL, but the NFL app has free football. And you can find any type of stats. You can even find next gen stats, which I really like. These are the type of stats I like. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the league leaders in each category. So for offense, for passing yards, we have Patrick Mahomes with 1,831 yards passing. And that's insane. Matt Ryan, even though his team, I believe, is 2-3 right now, is at 1,655 yards, which is still not really that close to Mahomes. Dak Prescott, I mean, like I said, I think his numbers are just kind of more because he's faced defenses that aren't that good. So, of course, you can pass the ball everywhere. Phillip Rivers, he always puts up a lot of stats. I always think of him as an older Stafford because, he's a little bit older, but he does pack on stats for no reason. And I love Stafford. I think he's a good quarterback, but he can definitely pad on stats, but not come up with wins. Now, is that necessarily his fault? No. But do stats really mean you're a better quarterback? Not quite. That's the top 5 for that. I definitely see this group changing. I forgot to mention Jared Goff. I don't really like him. I mean, Sean McVay is such a great head coach that he can make any quarterback look good. But I definitely think Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers, and Jared Goff all leave this top 5. And I think a different top 5 will pop up. I think Mahomes does stay on top for a while. But I think as defenses get more adjusted to how fast the Chiefs are and how they play, I think he'll definitely trickle down to maybe the 3rd, 4th, maybe even the 5th spot.
Okay. Now this is opening up my mind a little bit. They're throwing out their own little top 5. I'm going to do a top 5 of my own as it stands right now. The end of week 5. I'll do my top 5 quarterbacks. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. He's on fire. Number 2, believe it or not, I'm going to put Lamar Jackson. He's been on a roll. Number 3, Gardner Minshew. I absolutely love this guy. This guy's been throwing over 300 yards every game since he started, and he totally blew my mind. Because I thought for sure when Foles went out, that was it. And here comes Gardner Minshew. I'm putting him at number 3. Number 4, I'm going to have to go with Garoppolo. He had a phenomenal game today. But he's another one now, too, that I've noticed in the past years. He's becoming more consistent. And that's where it all boils down to, is your consistency. Every week you're putting up 275 plus yards, three or more touchdowns a game. So, yeah, Garoppolo at number 4. And number 5, I'm going to have to go. Ooh, this is the tough one. Who's on the bubble? I'm going to have to go with Jacoby Brissett. That's where I'm going to go. That's going to be my top 5 quarterbacks as of right now, as where it stands right now. I love how all 5 of these quarterbacks are playing right now. Like I said, Mahomes will always be my number 1. I don't care what happens. He's always my number 1. He's my number 1 guy. So, yeah. All right, there's that.
All right, I can see where you're coming from. I definitely think you fell really hard for Mahomes. I think you definitely have a man crush on him. I think it's kind of unhealthy. I've seen your shrine in your closet. All right, so now we have. I am what I have. Now we have the rushing yards leaders. And I'm not very surprised with this group because this group is a very good group of running backs. Number 1, leader in rushing yards right now is Christian McCaffrey. Now, let me go to the complete list. He has 587 rushing yards with a 5.6 average and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns just rushing. Okay, and his longest rush is for 84 yards for a touchdown. Okay, he has no fumbles as well. Three 20-plus yard rushes and 2 40-plus yard rushes. This guy is averaging 117 yards per game. And he does have the most rushes, but at 105, but he just, man, Carolina has had a knack for picking running backs, but they really, really picked a good one in Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, when he came into the league, I knew he was going to be good. Unfortunately, he got injured after 3 or 4 weeks, but he was off to a great start a couple years ago. But Dalvin Cook is number 2 in the league with 542 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. He is averaging 5.9 yards per carry on only 92 attempts. Okay, you give him a couple more attempts, and he's got more yards than Christian McCaffrey. He probably has a couple more touchdowns. His longest is 75 yards for a touchdown. But the one knock on him is that he has lost 2 fumbles. And that's unfortunate because he does have a good offensive line in front of him. Minnesota has a good offensive line, which is why I'm kind of liking Christian McCaffrey more because he doesn't really have an offensive line, and he's killing it. Number 3 is Leonard Fournette, and I knew he was definitely going to be a good player, and he's been showing it off the past few weeks as well. He has 512 yards rushing, 95 attempts for 5.4 yards per carry. Unfortunately, though, he does only have 1 rushing touchdown, but it's the yards that really help. Like, yes, you would like to capitalize with a touchdown, but the more a running back is getting yards, and if a running back, in my opinion, if a running back is in even the top 10, let's say, your team's doing pretty good because that running back is eating up the clock. That running back is wearing down the defense and keeping the defense on the field. And I think he's doing a very good job for Jacksonville. Number 4 is Marlon Mack. He's been killing it as well. Now, he has 101 attempts, 470 yards for 4.7 yards per carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And, the numbers don't really pop out too much for him just because there is a significant drop-off between, the 5.4 or more yards per carry compared to his 4.7, but that's also, he started out the year a little bit slow, but like I said, he had 3 straight weeks of 100 or more yards. Okay, and I can only see him getting better. And number 5, the first running back taken in this year's draft, Josh Jacobs. Okay, he's been killing it in Oakland. Now, Oakland really doesn't have an offensive line, and yet he's been killing it, okay? Only 88 rushing attempts, 430 yards per carry, or I apologize, 430 yards rushing. Yeah, I know, right? Every time he touches the ball, 400 yards. He's running 4 football fields. 4.9 yards per carry, and 4 rushing touchdowns with no fumbles. Now, I'm not saying this guy is going to be great, but he's definitely looking like he's going to have a good career, especially when he's working with an offensive line that is just not there. And there's two other people I want to talk about real quick. The next one is Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. He was such a great pickup for the Browns. 78 rushing attempts, 398 yards rushing for 5.1 yards per carry and 4 rushing touchdowns. Okay, he's number 6 in the league. That's pretty phenomenal. Number 12 in the league, Mr. Ageless Frank Gore. 75 rushing attempts for 333 yards rushing, 4.4 yards per carry, and 2 rushing touchdowns with no fumbles. And and he has 3 rushes over 20 plus yards and 1 rush for over 40 plus yards. Okay, and his longest rush is 41 yards. Think about it. This guy is what, 35, 36? And he's still running people over? Oh, man. And I'm just going to say the person with the best yards per carry right now, holy cow. He hasn't played a lot, but with 10 attempts and 127 yards rushing, Devin Singletary has 12.7 yards per carry with 1 touchdown. But what's eye-popping to me is that he has 3 rushes over 20 yards. Okay, and he only has 10 attempts. Okay, and he's averaging 12.7, which means, let's see, his longest was 23. So let's just say he has 3 rushes for 20 yards. That's 60 yards. So take 60, minus 127. That gives you 67, okay? But he still has 7 rushes for 67 yards. Okay, think about that. That's like, let me do it quickly. That's 5.6 yards per carry. Okay, that honestly brings him up to the 3rd spot rushing. Okay, so the Buffalo Bills, I think they're doing a good job with their running back committee, but I'm thinking they need to give Devin Singletary some more touches. I mean, I think if they make him the starter, and I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that he is the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I completely, totally forgot about him, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, I think he actually did all that. I think it was a couple weeks ago, I think. They had that game on TV. And I'm like, Singletary, man. I never heard of this guy. Where'd this guy come from? He's a beast. He's got the speed, he's got the power, he's elusive. He's almost like a hybrid. That's who I was trying to think of. But here's my little top 5. I agree with it for the most part. Christian McCaffrey, number 1. Like I said, I've always loved him. I've mentioned that on the very first episode. I love Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, I put Dalvin Cook. Number 3, I'm going Marlon Mack. Number 4, Nick Chubb. And number 5, Leonard Fournette. So basically, we're about the same there, just in a different order.
Yeah. So now we're going on to the receiving side of things. Okay, top 5. There's only one that's kind of, I don't know too much about, but apparently he's good. But anyway, number 1 is Michael Thomas. 45 receptions, 543 yards for 12.1 yards per catch. His longest is 42 yards, and he has 3 touchdowns. He's a good receiver, and he's definitely going to stay good for a while. But, I mean, he's probably the best receiver for the Saints, and he's probably the only receiver the Saints actually have. So, of course, he's going to get the most, targets. I mean, 45 receptions. I'm literally looking at the list, and only one other person has close to that number of targets. Everyone else is either 38 or lower. Okay? So, his stats are kind of padded because, I mean, he's the only one they're throwing to. Number 2 is Amari Cooper. He may be with the Dallas Cowboys, but he's definitely one of my favorite receivers, especially coming out of Alabama. And he's killing it this year. 32 receptions for 512 yards, 16 yards per catch, with 5 receiving touchdowns. Okay, dude is a monster. When he came into the league, I had him on my fantasy team, and he won me about 6 games alone. Okay, and then for some reason I traded him. Chris Godwin for Tampa Bay. That's who he plays for. I thought he played for the 49ers, but that's a different player. Anyway, another good stat line. 33 receptions for 511 yards, 15.5 yards per catch, and 6 touchdown catches. Oh. But yet again, it's only when Jameis Winston is playing like Jameis Winston. But when Jameis Winston plays like Jameis Winston, he just throws interceptions. This isn't multiple personality disorder. This is literally, I'm Jameis Winston. I'm Jameis Winston. Oh, I'm Jameis Winston. Anyway, number 4, Cooper Kupp. His stats are padded too because, remember, there was that game where he had 60 passing attempts. Okay, borderline 70. Okay, but 41 receptions for 505 yards, 12.3 yards per catch, and 4 touchdown catches. It's pretty good for him. I mean, he's definitely playing in another explosive offense, but probably not as explosive as the Chiefs. And then number 5, DJ Chark for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's what I'm saying. I didn't really know who he was, but
this is a very, very weird top 5. Seeing as how I've hardly heard of most of these guys, except I said DJ Chark. What? I never heard of Chris Goodwin either. It's weird because we're seeing, like, you're used to when you're going by position, like quarterbacks. Oh, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, these big elite, big named stars, and then you're looking at the receivers like, who the hell are some of these guys?
And the weird part is, a lot of the people we're used to seeing are barely even in the top 5, even top 10. And it's weird, but he has 27 receptions for 485 yards, 18 yards per catch, and 5 touchdown catches. Okay, this guy, this is great too. Okay, let me find his stat line again. Right there. Okay, for first down percentages, he's at a 70%. Okay, Michael Thomas is only half. Okay, at 57%. Okay, so DJ Chark is not only getting yards, he's not only getting touchdowns, but he's also getting first downs for the team. And now, before I hand it off to my good old pal Larry, I just want to say one of the most exciting receivers coming out of the draft, DK Metcalf for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Now he's listed as the 46th receiver, but okay, and this is in terms of yardage, so it's just how many yards. But he is having a phenomenal quiet year. Why? Because he has 12 receptions for 267 yards. Now, nobody is even close to his yards per catch, okay? He has 22.3 yards per catch, which means when he catches the ball, he's already 20 yards down the field, or he has yards after the catch. It's just phenomenal. And he has 2 touchdown catches and a 75% first down rating. Okay, there's only about 8 other receivers that have a better first down percentage than him. And I mean, the thing about him is that he's doing it all without that many receptions. He's the only receiver in the whole top 50 with 12 receptions. The next closest person to him has 16. Okay, and they're still not doing as good as him. He's doing better than literally everybody with no receptions. And so I just wanted to talk about him real quick because he came out of the draft with like a 1% body fat, and apparently analysts were like, "Oh, that's very unhealthy. He's just gonna, get injured, and he's not gonna play well." He's playing really well. Okay, he's just not getting the ball thrown to him a lot. Okay, 12 receptions for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns. Almost that is almost 20% of the time he's getting a touchdown when he gets the ball thrown to him. That's almost what was his name for us? Joseph Fourier. When he had the 1 year where he had, I think, 6 touchdown catches with only 7 receptions. Like it, DK Metcalf, I think if Seattle can get an offensive line and let Russell Wilson just sit back, I think DK Metcalf, with how he trains and how he prepares his body, he could potentially become one of the new Jerry Rices. As long as he keeps up with his strawberry milk.
Absolutely. And that was one of the guys that I totally forgot to talk about in our first episode was DK Metcalf, because I was praying to God we were going to get him with our first pick. Because he was just he blew my mind. I watched a lot of the combine. And I think he ran like a 4.40. I mean, it was at 4.38. Yep. And I was unbelievable. I was blown away by this guy. I'm like, we need to get this guy because we lost Golden Tate. So I'm like, oh, he would be a perfect replacement. And that was one of the guys I wanted as my breakout players of the year. That's who it was. But anyway, I did my little top 5. I mean, not stats or anything like that. Just my as it stands right now. I mean, I love OBJ. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. I put him at number 1 because, damn it, he deserves some love. He's putting up with a lot of shit in Cleveland right now, and I really don't blame him with the whole altercation last week with Baltimore, even though it was the other dude's fault. But, it is what it is. I love OBJ. I love his game. I love his attitude. I'm putting him at number 1. Number 2, I'm going with Amari Cooper. It's a close first and second there. I like Amari Cooper. I have always liked watching him play. A fantastic receiver. Stat blaster, absolutely. Number 3, I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins. That's my guy. The Houston Texans, one of my personal favorite receivers from Texans history. DeAndre Hopkins is just amazingly awesome. I love watching this guy. Number 4, Tyreek Hill. And number 5, DK Metcalf. He's a guy that needs to get noticed. like I said, ever since the combine, for some reason I don't know why I forgot all about him because I think I was going with anger and rage because they picked fucking T.J. Hawkinson over DK Metcalf, but which I mean to be fair, I mean it still looked good, absolutely, but and with him going to Seattle, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely going to work out. Watch DK Metcalf. I love this guy. I'm totally on board with you. I'm a huge fan of DK Metcalf. If like I said, if they get like exactly right with what you said, if they can work on the offensive line, oh my God, Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf have that potential to be Montana and Rice 2.0. And oh, I love this guy. So, you got anything else or? Okay. Well, here's Danny again with more stats on the defensive side. Ooh, this is gonna be good. I can't wait for this one.
So I'm gonna give you, because there's so many defensive players that can do everything. Like any defensive player can get an interception, whereas offense, not every player can get a touchdown pass. Not every player can get a rushing touchdown. Defense, you just have so many people doing so many different things. So I'm just gonna quickly go through the players, the teams, and then I'm gonna do next gen stats. Number 1 for tackles is Luke Kuechly, my favorite linebacker, all time as well. Ray Lewis is second, and then what's his name? He played for the 49ers. Man, I can't think of his name, but it's like Patrick something. Patrick Willis. There we go. Anyway, Luke Kuechly with 56 tackles. 27 total, and then 29 assisted, and he has a safety. I'm surprised he doesn't have interceptions because he leads the league for linebackers in interceptions. Or interceptions with almost everybody since he entered the league. Blake Martinez, he's with the Green Bay, 55 tackles, 37 on his own, and 18 assisted, 1 sack. So he's pretty serviceable. Jordan Hicks, 54 tackles, 31, 23 assisted, and half a sack. Joe Schobert from Cleveland Browns, 54 combined tackles, 38 with 16 assisted. So he's a pretty good tackling machine with 1 sack. And then Bobby Wagner from Seattle, 50 tackles, 26 total, 24 assisted. No other stats to say, but I mean, you don't need to say anything about Bobby Wagner. He's a baller on defense. Now let's go to sack leaders. This one's a little surprising, but Shaquille Barrett from Tampa Bay, 9 sacks, 3 passes defended, 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles. Okay? And it looks like he's listed as a linebacker. So that surprises me too. Like, where did he come from? Mario Addison from Carolina, 6.5 sacks and 1 forced fumble. Mr. Myles Garrett, 6 sacks and 1 forced fumble. Clay Matthews, before he broke his jaw, 6 sacks. That's crazy. And 2 forced fumbles, so he's still killing it at an old age. Preston Smith from Green Bay, 5.5 sacks, 4 passes defended, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. And one player I want to really talk about real quick is Jamie Collins for New England. I may not like New England, but this guy is having himself a year. Okay? The tackles, 27, okay, total, but 4.5 sacks, 7 passes defended, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 1 that he took for 69 yards for a touchdown. 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. That's a bad guy right there. Khalil Mack, 4.5, but 4 forced fumbles. That's a I don't. When I played football, I wasn't really terrified or scared or worried about anybody. But if I ever came up against Khalil Mack, that's a whole nother ball game right there. That whole different game. Anyway, now into interceptions. This is one reason why New England is where they are, because Devin McCourty leads the league with 4 interceptions. Jamie Collins with 3. Kevin Byard from Tennessee, 2 interceptions. The rest of these have just 2 interceptions. Haha Clinton Dix, Ryan Connolly, Quinton Dunbar, Kyle Fuller, Nate Gary, Anthony Harris, Dante Jackson, and oh, look at that. Once again, another New England Patriot, 2 interceptions. So let's just count up the interceptions for New England, shall we? 2, 5, and 9. That's just 3 of their players. Okay, now let's see how many they have with the rest of their team. 9, 10, 11. They have 11 interceptions between all of them. Anyway, that's it for, personal stats. I won't go into team stats right now because I'm real excited about the next gen stats. Like I said, this is where they have different machinery and different little, meter checks that I don't have access to. I can watch people and come up with things, which that's what I'm trying to do. It's going to take me a while to come up with the system, but I know I can do it. But they have some of the stuff that I like to see, like fastest ball carriers. Okay, this is miles per hour on a single play. Matt Breida, 83-yard rushing touchdown, week 5, 22.3 miles per hour. Cordero Patterson is number 2 at 22 for a 46-yard rush. Nick Chubb, 21.95 miles per hour. Christian McCaffrey, 21.95. Saquon Barkley, 21.76. McCole Hardman, 21.74. Odell Beckham, 21.7. Malcolm Butler, 21.5. It's just crazy how fast these NFL players are. And surprisingly, the only running back, wide receiver, and cornerback on the list is Marcus Mariota for a 4-yard rush. He topped at 21.5 miles per hour. Wow. Wow. Oh man, there's even more stats that I'm going to have to save it for next time. I'm just doing top plays. Oh man, there's so many different stats. I love it. Anyway, we're going to do longest plays. So this is not just running from one end zone to the other. This is running from one end zone to the sideline, to the other sideline, back to the sideline, to the end zone, having to run around again to the end zone, have to run to the other sideline. Like all those extra yards that aren't calculated, this is what they're calculating. And of course, the 2 first spots are taken up by the Lions. Week 1. Oh, man, it went away. There we go. It's back. Danny Amendola, 158.7 yards on his 47-yard touchdown reception. Okay, think about that. 47-yard touchdown. Okay? He added another 111 yards. Okay, and he still had the touchdown. Like that's insane. And then the second one is Jamal Agnew, 133.8 yards on a 100-yard kickoff return, which means he wasn't able to just run straight. He had to run 33 yards to the side, creases, whatever he had to do, and yet he was able to do it. Man, Darius Phillips for Cincinnati. It's funny because it didn't go for a touchdown or anything. It was only a 27-yard kickoff return, but he still had 123 yards on that, which means he wasted over 90 yards of just nothing. I'm trying to find anything else that's ridiculous. This is funny. 8-yard reception. Okay, 8-yard reception. 107.6 yards total by Robbie Anderson, which means for 99 yards, he's doing something other than his 8-yard reception. Okay, at least Nick Chubb spent 20 yards on his 88-yard rushing touchdown for 105 total yards. And then, is there anything else too crazy? Nope. All right, so we'll go ahead and go to. Let's do incredible yards after catch. Okay, so this is where it is taking. Instead of someone who's just wide open and then getting yards after the catch, this is someone who catches the ball with tight coverage, breaks a tackle, gets separation. Like they have tight coverage and they jam them on the line and they just run past them, or they get themselves open. Derrick Henry is number one. And this went for a touchdown, okay? He had a reception, okay? It was expected to go for 9 yards, okay? It went for 75 yards. Okay, they calculated with how he breaks tackles, how he gets separation, how the defender, plays tight coverage. So he was expected 9 yards. Okay, 9 yards is what he was expected, and then they were going to go on the next play. No, he got 70 more yards. Okay, that is insane. Now, oh my goodness. This one really took me. Willie Snead, he was expected 1 yard. He was expected 1 yard. And he took it for 50 yards for a touchdown. Okay. And this is Willie Snead from Baltimore. Okay, where they're run happy. Okay, oh my goodness. These football players are insane. And I am so happy that there's a thing called Next Gen Stats. Pro Football Focus. I am so happy for all that because those are the things I like. Because anyone can say, oh, well, he has 1,600 receiving yards. Yeah, but how many times was he wide open for that? How many times did he just burn somebody? I want to know somebody that has 1,400 yards and, 1,300 of those yards are yards after the catch because he was able to break tackles. He was able to stiff arm people, spin move. Like, those are the things I want to know. And thank goodness for Next Gen Stats and them pouring their money into it because, God only knows that I don't have the money to pour resources into that. But as Larry said, I am the stats guy in this, and I love stats, okay? I could talk about stats all day. I could give you stats about everybody, okay? But I don't have the equipment for it, unfortunately. but I'm definitely working on a way that I can calculate different plays, uh, different, diameters and parameters for, different players and plays and circumstances. So, in the next few weeks, just be prepared for me to come out with some pretty mind-boggling stats. Unless next gen beats me to it, which they probably will. So I'll just use theirs. Anyway, that is all I have to say this week. And it it's been a really crazy season so far. I mean, some of the things we've expected, and then there's been a lot more that we have not expected at all this season. There's so many different things going on. There's so many different, like, this is, everyone's calling it. It's the year of the backups. For no reason whatsoever, backups are playing phenomenally right now. For no reason. And I don't understand it because they're backups. Not every backup is supposed to be as good as all these other backups. But they're making it happen, and every week we get surprised more and more. Like Larry said, he won this week, by a landslide, but, the week before I won by basically a landslide. It just, each week you just never know. And I mean, each week we deal with, Larry and I deal with each of us having 8 games that are different. And it can go either way. It literally can go either way, Like the Dolphins and the Redskins. We can pick the Redskins all day. But the Dolphins could somehow just pull off a win. Because, I mean, last year they pulled off a win against New England in the final game. It was just a kick return. End of the game, just a kick return. Just lateral passing, for fun. And Kenyon Drake took it for a touchdown and won the game. Just took it for a touchdown after 5 laterals. Okay, so anything can happen because it is football. Okay, other sports like basketball, it takes a while for a team to be able to make a comeback. I mean, if a team's down 30, it's basically game over. Baseball, if a team is down 4 or 5 runs, it's basically game over. Because most of the time you just have, you're out, you're out, you're out. Change sides. That's also Wii Baseball if you guys have ever played it. And then, even hockey, if someone scores a goal, it's like, oh, you're 1 point closer. But more than likely, if someone's up 2 goals, it's kind of done. Soccer is definitely one of those games where, you score 1 goal, it could possibly be the end of the game. But football is one of those games that if there's a fumble, all of a sudden the other team has momentum. If there's an interception, all of a sudden they're back in the game. If let's say the Dolphins and the Redskins. The Redskins are up 20. The Dolphins are at 0. The Dolphins could score a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a 13-point game. Oh, what is that? The Redskins fumble at their own 10-yard line? Oh, the Dolphins score again? Oh, it's a 6-point game. It can happen that fast. Turnovers in other games or in other sports are just, it happens. But for football, anything can happen. And all and everything will happen, as proved by this season.
Yep. So how can I top that? I really can't. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is the most unpredictable sport. If I had to guess a close second, it would have to be hockey, because especially in the playoffs, you've seen teams down 3 games to none, and they come back and tie it up for Game 7. You see that quite a bit nowadays because it's all about money, and that's the way the script goes. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I mean, of course, all professional sports are rigged. They're all in the script. So I mean, it's just the way it is. Um, so I mean, I really don't have any. I wanted to throw in something, but it's too late. We're already at an hour and 37 minutes. With editing and all that. So what I have planned, I'll save for next week. um, so it'll be the end of week 6. Man, the first quarter is already done. My God, this season is just going by too fast. But what I'm planning on doing next week, I mean, besides doing the quick little recap, our picks for the following week, I'm gonna add in a little something that I wanted to do this week, but I'll save it for next time. We're gonna go through each division, and we're gonna say who's the contender and who's the pretender. So we're gonna call that section contender or pretender. That's what we're going to do for next week. So I don't have anything else. So everybody out there, enjoy your week. And we will see you again probably Monday night as always. Now, I don't know how we switched to Monday night now all of a sudden. I mean, we went from Thursday and Sunday to just Sunday, and then Thursday and Sunday, and then now we're in a Wednesday, and now we're on Monday. So just enjoy your week. And we'll see you Monday night again. So for that, I'm one of your hosts, Larry Szynski.
And the inconsistent Danny Waiter, telling you to take it for a touchdown.